For every swing, every moment, the Milwaukee Brewers fight. It's not just about hitting the ball, it's about leaving a legacy.
A giant hole could open up in the heart of our lineup, but the plan to fill it? It's the most audacious in our recent history, involving one of the biggest names in the sport. This story is going to unfold fast. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't get left behind. The conversation starts now. Hello, Brew Crew. Welcome back to our channel, your source for exclusive news and analysis on our Milwaukee Brewers. Before we dive into what might be the biggest discussion of our upcoming offseason, I need to ask you a favor. If you want to stay ahead of the news, getting in-depth analysis and information you won't find anywhere else, then please hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell. Trust me, with what's coming, you won't want to be left behind. What a run, Brew Crew! What a run! I know we're all on cloud 9, and for good reason. We are living through a historic moment. 14 consecutive wins. I'll repeat that. 14 straight wins. A new franchise record. It's the kind of streak that defines a season, that solidifies a team as a true title contender. This is the second time this season we've rattled off a winning streak of 10 or more games, which shows a resilience and consistency that are rare to see in MLB. Looking at the National League Central standings and seeing our Brewers with a 9-game lead over the Chicago Cubs is simply surreal. And it doesn't stop there. With a 78-44 record, we have the best record in all of Major League Baseball. With just 80 games left in the 2025 regular season, we are in control of our own destiny. The energy at American Family Field has been electric, and the way this team has found ways to win day in and day out is something worthy of study. We've overcome the loss of key pieces like Willie Adames and our elite closer, Devin Williams, and yet we continue to dominate. That speaks volumes about the depth of our roster and the genius of our coaching staff and front office, led by Matt Arnold. They have built a winning machine. But as an analyst and as a fan, my job is to look not only at the glorious present, but also toward the future. And on the off-season horizon, a cloud of uncertainty is beginning to form. And it has a first and last name, Rhys Hoskins. When we signed him, we knew it was a short-term high-reward deal. And what a reward it's been! Hoskins has been a cornerstone in the middle of our lineup. He brought power, a veteran presence, and a professional approach that has been contagious in the clubhouse. He delivered exactly what we hoped for. However, he will be a free agent at the end of the season. And with the performance he's had, it's very likely he'll seek a long-term, high-value contract on the market, a contract that, historically, the Milwaukee Brewers are hesitant to offer. If Hoskins decides to move on, and we can't blame him if he does, we will be left with a massive hole at first base and in the heart of our batting order. The question that Matt Arnold and his team must be asking themselves right now is, how do we replace that production? How do we keep this offensive engine running at full throttle in 2026 and beyond? This is where things get really interesting and where our organization's philosophy could be tested like never before. It is in this scenario of uncertainty that a heavyweight name emerges in behind-the-scenes conversations. A name that would make any fan dream. I'm talking about Pete Alonso. Yes, the polar bear. The man who became the all-time home run leader in New York Mets history. According to reliable sources like Jim Bowden of The Athletic, it's almost a certainty that Alonso will exercise the opt-out clause in his 2-year, $54 million contract he signed with the Mets last winter. Bowden was clear in his analysis. Alonso, the new Mets all-time home run leader, is beloved in Queens, and the feeling is mutual. But there's no doubt he will opt out of his Mets contract, out in hopes that this offseason they will reward him with a long-term deal. If they don't, I believe this time he won't be as open to signing another short-term deal and will instead go to a team that is willing to give him a long-term commitment. That last sentence is the key, a long-term commitment. This opens a door, albeit a small one, for teams other than the Mets. And if that door opens, the Milwaukee Brewers must at the very least consider peeking at what's on the other side. It would be a paradigm shift for our franchise, a statement of intent that would echo throughout the league. It would be our answer to the question of how to take this team from excellent to World Series champion. Let's break down the facts. Pete Alonso isn't just a power hitter, he's a force of nature. In 2025, he is having another monstrous season with the Mets. His stats speak for themselves. A slash line of .268 batting average, .352 on base percentage, and .582 slugging. That results in a .873 OPS and a 148 OPS plus, meaning he is 48% better than the league average hitter. Add to that 28 home runs and 100 RBIs, and you have one of the most intimidating offensive profiles in baseball. He's a former NL Rookie of the Year, a 5-time All-Star, and a 2-time Home Run Derby champion. He is a player who changes the dynamic of a lineup. Imagine plugging that bat into the middle of our order, protecting guys like William Contreras and Jackson Chourio. The pressure that would take off our young talents would be immeasurable, allowing them to develop with more freedom. Alonso's presence would transform our already good offense into one of the most feared in the National League. He is a true middle-of-the-order thumper, the exact type of player you target when you're one piece away from a title. The question isn't whether he would fit. The question is whether we can afford him. And here we arrive at the heart of the matter, the cost. The Milwaukee Brewers, under Mark Attanasio's ownership, have always operated with a philosophy of financial intelligence. We don't spend for the sake of spending. We look for value. We exploit market inefficiencies. We develop our own talent, and we make shrewd trades. It's a model that has brought us consistent, sustainable success, something many larger market franchises fail to replicate. However, that model has rarely, if ever, included signing a free agent to a contract exceeding $100 million. Pete Alonso, at 30 years old and in the prime of his career, will certainly be seeking a long-term deal, perhaps in the range of 6, 7, or even 8 years, with a total value that could approach or surpass $200 million. This would be completely new territory for the Brewers. It would be breaking the mold. The question the front office must answer is this the right player at the right time to break that philosophy for? The timing seems perfect. We have a young, talented core under contract control for several years. The window to compete for a World Series is wide open. Adding a player of Alonso's caliber could be the final push we need to get through it and bring the Commissioner's Trophy to Milwaukee. It would be a massive investment, yes, but an investment in a real shot at glory. On the other hand, there's the risk. Long contracts for power hitters in their 30s can become problematic on the back end of the deal. It could limit our financial flexibility to extend the contracts of our own young talents in the future, like Chourio, Frelick, or Turang. The alternative would be to go the Brewers' way. Let Hoskins walk. Perhaps find a more affordable replacement in free agency or via trade, and trust our player development system to fill the gap. It's a strategy that has worked in the past, but after a season like this with the best record in the league, is what worked in the past enough? Or has the time come to be bold, to take the step that separates good teams from championship teams? This is the crossroads we find ourselves at. Continue on the safe, proven path that got us here, or take the high-speed, high-risk, high-reward detour that Pete Alonso represents. The situation is clear. We are on top of the baseball world right now, but a critical decision is looming. The potential departure of Rhys Hoskins forces us to look at the market, and the biggest fish in that market may very well be Pete Alonso. Signing him would be the most audacious move in recent franchise history, an unmistakable sign that we are playing to win it all right now. However, it would require an unprecedented deviation from our financial philosophy. Now, I want to hear from you. What does the Brew Crew think about this? Do you think the Brewers should break the bank and make a massive offer for Pete Alonso if Rhys Hoskins leaves? Or do you prefer that the front office stays true to its traditional method of finding value and building more conservatively? Leave your opinions in the comments below. I read all of them. For more in-depth analysis on breaking news like this, make sure you are subscribed and have your notifications turned on. I am your host, and this is your channel for everything Milwaukee Brewers. See you next time.